Introduction. Black fatigue runs deep. Jumaane D. Williams is a black man. He is a New York City public advocate. In passionate and tear-filled extemporaneous comments at a press conference regarding the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd in the spring of 2020, he said this about the impact of racism and police brutality on the black community. "I am not okay. I am not okay today. I want to give the black community permission to say, I am not okay. I am tired. I am tired. I have not watched the video of Ahmaud Arbery. It is too much. I have not watched the video of George Floyd. It is too much. Black people have to go to work the next day and be all right. I am not okay. I am tired. I am tired of racism." Williams described black fatigue. I define black fatigue in Chapter 2 as repeated variations of stress that result in extreme exhaustion and cause mental, physical, and spiritual maladies that are passed down from generation to generation. The fatigue of enduring unrelenting racist systems was not new with the 2020 protests. What was new was that black people, from the famous to the everyday citizen, were given permission to take off the proverbial muzzle, to tell the world about their pain and rage without fear of the normal backlash. For example, why do you people always play the race card? It seemed as if the world was finally willing to listen. Black people were no longer denying or suppressing the emotional toll. We were boldly and poignantly calling out the impact of living in a racist world and demanding actions that put more of the burden on white people to change racist systems. White people could no longer claim sublime ignorance. Black people have been marching, protesting, resisting, writing, orating, praying, legislating, and commentating for centuries for equity and justice, and young and old, we are fatigued. It is physically, mentally, and emotionally draining to continue to experience inequities and even atrocities day after day, when justice, equity, and fairness are purportedly legislated rights of all citizens of these United States of America. At the height of the 2020 protests, I facilitated many listening and learning sessions. I was asked to serve on several panels with CEOs and key leaders of organizations. These virtual town hall gatherings were usually open to all employees and often included Black panelists who shared personal stories. Several times, CEOs admitted that they did not know about the daily challenges of navigating life as a Black person. One CEO, whose chief financial officer is Black, said that he was embarrassed that he had known his CFO for many years and had no sense of the emotional toll he faced from living while Black. This is what Black fatigue, how racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit, is about. It is about the fatigue that comes from the pain and anguish of living with racism every single day of your life. It is about being fatigued by those who are surprised and express outrage with no action that such inequities still exist. It is about the constant fatigue of not knowing whether you or a loved one will come home alive. It is about enduring the ravages of intergenerational racism. I am a child of the 1960s. As the editor of my high school newspaper, I wrote about the ills of discrimination. I was also a writer for my college newspaper, where I wrote about racist behaviors and participated in rallies and marches protesting inequitable treatment. Essentially, my whole career has been dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And it is mind-bogglingly fatiguing to realize that not much has changed. I explore my Black fatigue in Chapter 1.
Welcome back to Breakdown Friday. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones. And we are here breaking down the multifaceted subject of Black fatigue. And you're going to see why I say it's multifaceted at the end of this show, because it's two parts. And we're starting off with the first part, introducing you to what Black fatigue originally is. And then we're going to get into what Black fatigue has now become, because, you know, them folks. So that's what we're getting into. So that was a reading of a chapter of the Black Fatigue book by Mary Frances Winters. This book came out in 2020 to describe how racism erodes the mind, spirit, and body. Basically, Black people being tired of dealing with racism and the racist system and starting to now talk about it. But that's the basis of the Black fatigue. So, like I said, we're going to start off with the first part of like getting into what Black fatigue is and how it affects us and all those things there. But then we're going to get into the twist in Black fatigue and why it is what it has become. So, Pat, man, I want to start with you, man. Are you, as a Black person, are you fatigued?
I have intense, severe, clinical WWF. It is very severe. I think I'm the worst case that I know of. Easily the worst case that I know of. When I talk about it amongst my other people that are suffering from WWF, clearly they're having it at the levels vary, but nobody is quite as bad as I am. It makes it feel a little bit worse. It makes it feel a little bit more hopeless that there's nobody for me to relate to. And then this whole thing we're going through right now with Black fatigue is, you know, it's making it worse. It's making it worse because more of the WWs are in my face, making me effed.
Hey, before we go further, because you got this playing with WWF is for the people. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all comment. Make sure y'all subscribe and share this video. You see that finger? You know what that, man, put your fingers in that. If you don't hit that like button, and you're no longer part of the African American community, and you can't come to the cookout no more. So make sure you hit that like button. And I want to give a shout out to everybody who showed up to my lives. PC, you a real one, showing up to the lives this past weekend. I appreciate you all. It was phenomenal. I had fun, and you know, I'm coming back at it with some old lives. Well, at least on Saturday. I got something for you, so make sure you stick around for that. And I want to give a big shout out to Cheryl Tate. I appreciate your support to Own the Shoulders of Giants. You are very, very, very appreciated. So thank you, Cheryl Tate, and everybody else who continues to support On the Shoulders of these Giants. So make sure y'all like these videos, share these videos, comment. Because the like button and the comment button help the algorithm, help more people see these videos. I'm pushing for 100,000 subs, and I need y'all help because we got to grow this channel. We got to get more views. Got to make this thing pop. So hit that like button. Let's make sure we do what we do. So Pat, let's jump back into it. Explain what WWF is and give us your thoughts on this whole Black fatigue thing.
Well, I haven't really gotten a chance to process this with my therapist yet, so forgive me if I become a little emotional.
PC, why you ain't let him process that with you, man?
It's a lot to process.
We're working on it. We're in the early stages of discovery.
You got a Medicaid issue.
It's a lot to process, and there ain't no drugs and nothing I can take to help. So you just got to raw dog it. You know what I'm saying?
that dog.
Yeah, you know. So WWF, white woman fatigue, white women fatigue. It's something that we actually started talking about. It was a surgence of it on social media, Facebook in particular, that I saw maybe about a year ago. I started using the term maybe about 18 months ago, 24 months ago, somewhere around in there, where I just started being very tired of white women constantly inserting themselves into various situations and conversations,
buddy,
making themselves authority figures, making themselves it's funny too, because demographically speaking, white women are the most abundant people in America.
True.
So, but some kind of way they got to be the voice of the minorities. And of course we know how, but their level of ignorance and their level of unknowing and their level of it surpasses that of their male counterpart. Because at least white men would say, I don't know, and I don't give a fuck that I don't know. White women will say, they won't say I don't know. They will look at you, they will nod as if they understand, and then they will proceed to vomit out a series of words in a very specific order that will alert you to the fact that they have no clue what you just said, no clue what you're getting at, and no real desire to gain any sort of understanding. They were letting you talk so that they could then go back and say, I heard you out. And that is exhausting.
But I understand, Patrick. I understand. I really do. I want you to know that I really do understand you and your people and your struggle.
You know, it's a great example of white fatigue. It came across, somebody sent it to me. One of the things that makes white women so fatiguing. It was a white lady. She had a white son, and she said, because I want to raise my son not to be an awful person, I'm going to read him these books. And I went and looked up the books that she read out. All of these books were written by white women, and all of these books were about DEI issues. I'm sorry, DIE issues, because that's what I call it.
Oh, yeah, DIE.
And it was like, oh, so you're going to make your son not be an awful person by reading to him about the problems, the pains, trials, and tribulations of non-white people as written through the lens of a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate you.
But we're only trying to help.
Yes, and that's why you never mind. Go ahead.
No, but that's what we want. Your thoughts on black fatigue.
All right. So the black fatigue joint, right, man? Because let me transition, because I'm getting a little choked up talking about WWF.
But you know, white woman fatigue is an aspect of black fatigue, and it's an important aspect of this video.
Yes,
here today too.
Because now white women have white women all over the place. They're white women splaining, and I don't know why they don't get called out for it. But these white women have started a movement, to my knowledge, and some of you colored people have decided that you was going to get on board with that. Is that a YouTube safe term?
Colored people? Yeah,
I guess it is. You just said it. All right. So here's the thing, right? With you coloreds. John Henry Clark said it best. You have no friends. And in the words of the late great Joseph Ward character, Humphrey Bogart from The Woods, we don't like your kind.
We don't like your kind. You don't get it.
So I don't like this idea that the world is now, white women are now saying black fatigue is us being tired of black people complaining. Black fatigue is us being the world, the whole world. Here they go again, right? Painting the whole world in their lens. The whole world is tired of black people making themselves be the victims and pulling the race card. And everybody's just sick of it. And they've had enough. And they're really tired of not being able to say the N-word. They're really bothered by that. We know this is something they've been bothered by since Tupac was alive. You know, they can't say the N-word, and it really bothers them. And so now they've taken the term black fatigue and they've turned it into something that is totally not what it was meant for. And I got a call from the spirit of Miss Winters. The woman ain't dead, so the spirit was probably just one of the voices in my head. But it called me last night. It said, "Get up, young brother. I got something to say to you." Except it said it in a woman's voice, not that voice. And it said, my message is being soiled by those whose complexions match the inside of your hand. And what I need you to do for me, good brother, is I need you to go on this show with Joseph Ward and Professor Carlton Jones. And I need you to speak the words that I'm going to give to you. And the words were, I forgot them because I had to use the bathroom and I woke up, but they was powerful words. And with that, I'm going to land my plane, and PC, go ahead.
Well, all right then. So basically, what Pat was really trying to tell y'all is,
me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Joe, you muted.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was muted. I'm just here talking. Yeah, you tell him, Pat. God dang it, you tell him. So, Pat explained what an outcome of black fatigue is white women fatigue. One of the most important aspects of it, because like he said, well, white women, you know, if women outnumber men, and white people are the most abundant here, then you know, white women, you know, they're the most of the popular. They have the biggest group, right? So yeah. So PC, man, what are your thoughts on this whole black fatigue phenomena, and how do you think it's actually really affecting black people?
well, first of all, I want to just say, like, when you do this, you really better have clean fingernails, because this is an HD. You people see that, like, damn, yeah. Like, you better have clean fingernails. So, well, you know, we already understand historically that an insurmountable amount of pressure has been applied to just being black and existing in America for various reasons. We all understand, since the transatlantic slave trade, because I'm just going to go back that far. I don't want to get into it with the people that say that black people were here first. And I mean, we know there's evidence of that, but I don't want to get into that part. But since the transatlantic slave trade, black people have had to suffer through having first of all, being separated from their families, having their identities wiped clean, and having their cultures wiped, the slate cleaned, wiped clean, wiped plain, and having every aspect that connected black people to God distorted and destroyed. And so what we really ended up with is a group of people who, through various ways, tried to maintain a semblance of their culture and who they were, but had to do so under such scrutiny and pressure that it threatened their very existence. And there are, you know, African tribes that, you know, members of African tribes that were brought here, that their bloodline ended because they were so resistant and rebellious to what was going on in terms of being occupied and being transported here in the bowels of a dirty ship. So we have that. We have the weight that has been applied, and we often call it the foot on our throat, and which was so graphically illustrated, you know, with the George Floyd murder, you know, by that police officer in Minneapolis, when he put literally put his knee on his neck until he could no longer breathe.
Yep. So
that was like the if you wanted to characterize the black struggle. And I know some people will say, well, George Floyd was out getting high, this, that, and the other. Being black in America, you have to self-medicate.
So was Austin Metcalf.
Right. Well, yeah. You know, but I'm saying it for a specific purpose, right?
Be petty.
Right. So you have to self-medicate in some way to absorb the threshold, because let's face it, everybody has a threshold for how much you can actually handle, whether it's weight capacity before you get crushed, whether it's emotional capacity before your brain will shut you down. or until the point where it kills you. And so black people collectively have been carrying that strain for over 400 years here in this country. And every single time black people seem to learn the rules of the game, they switched up the rules. They changed it. It's a labyrinth, right? They changed the maze. They changed the exit points. And then, like I said, when it's like, and this is something I want to tell all you drug dealers, think people in people in the streets in particular, and also all you other cats that feel like you can change the game or you can be a part of something and change it from the inside. If you're playing Madden 2K, right? You're playing Madden 2K, and you get real good at the game. You become an expert, and you can win tournaments and things of that nature. You can even be ranked as high as #1 in the world. But the very next season, they changed something. They switched something up. And when they switch something up, now you have to relearn the game. In other words, the people who make the game can always change the game. They can always create it to make it more difficult. They can put certain attributes in that give certain players advantages. They can do whatever they want because they make the rules of the game. And then you're trying to play the game and win the game and get out the game. But every time you seem to master the game gets changed. That's the struggle and the stress and the oppression of black fatigue. You just keep pushing. It's like water hitting a rock. The waves just keep crashing on rocks. And eventually what you have is either a muddy or a sandy beach. That's what we're dealing with when you talk about that. That's why you see so many black people, they don't even want to play the race game. They don't even want to talk. They don't want. You've gotten the black beaten out of most black people. Most black people don't even want to identify as black because, and when I say that, I mean they don't want to identify it as is adverse to being white because they don't want that smoke no more.